Yes, sir. I think we can start now. People are watching on YouTube.
Thank you. We are starting it. Good evening, everyone. Good evening,
Good
and
evening,
welcome
sir.
to the session of AWS. Actually, this session is about AWS Solution Architect Associate C03 certification and about its training. This is a new and latest certification which is offered by Networkings. In this session, we are going to start with a very basics of cloud computing. What is the cloud computing? What is the need of AWS? What is the scope of? Means we will go through an agenda. So you might have heard about AWS, and AWS is not unfamiliar actually. It's a popular name in the field of cloud computing. AWS is a cloud platform, and it stands for Amazon Web Services. As we know, cloud computing is for every use these days, especially in the field of IT. You know that all major companies either migrated their physical infrastructure over cloud, or they are in a process to do so. Means almost everyone, they are partially or fully, they are now using cloud computing. And such kind of changes you can see in industry, and because of some advantage of cloud computing over traditional IT infrastructure. I will talk about those advantages as well, but in short, because we have a limited time session, and it's mean that one thing is very clear. The cloud computing is now necessary to learn for every IT professional or people somehow connected with cloud services. Nowadays, cloud computing is being used almost in every field. So we can take some example, like you can see use of cloud computing in education, IT infrastructure, software development, entertainment industry, e-commerce, medical field, research and development, right? And many other fields are there we can mention. And in addition, with the help of cloud computing, it would be easier for us to implement and use field like artificial intelligence. Now you know that how actually the artificial intelligence this vertical is coming up, this field is coming up, right? And almost in every big company now, companies are using machine learning as well. So AWS is a kind of a platform which finds fit for all these requirements. And in AWS, we have number of specific services to use in artificial intelligence, machine learning. So this statement straightforward explains that AWS is significant to start your career in AWS, right? So this is very, very important. Means if you want to make your career in cloud computing. So let's say this is the list of our agenda. First of all, we'll talk about what is the cloud computing, then what is the scope of cloud computing. So maybe you are a networker, maybe you are a system administrator, maybe you are working on some different role. But in coming time, right? Let's say talking about next 2, 3 years or 4 years, even the people have started actually using cloud computing in their organizations. The company has started already. And why Amazon Web Service? Why AWS? So because whenever we talk about cloud computing platforms, we think about even other vendors also, like Google is there, Azure is there, and Amazon is there, right? So why Amazon? Just understand, right? We'll talk about this. When you talk about routers, when you talk about networking, why you always go for Cisco? In a similar fashion, if you talk about cloud, if you want to just learn cloud, if you want to just make your career in cloud, so AWS is the name, right? So we'll talk about advantages of using cloud computing on AWS. Now, I will cover 3 demos here. One is hosting a serverless website. So serverless is what is a serverless and how it is different from your on-prem architecture. I will talk about this as well. And a launching of a virtual server. So I will give a little introduction, means how you can launch your server in AWS. And hosting web app using Amplify. This is the latest and a new service which is introduced in this certification as well, right? And then we'll talk about, let's say, some few contents, some advantages, and finally, means why the most favorite institution, Networkings, right? So this is the thing. Now, so let me start with my short introduction. so you should know about me as well. So first of all, I would like to give my introduction here. My name is Sanjay Sharma, and you can say I'm a facilitator, I'm a trainer, or I would like to say instructor, right? So by profession at present, I'm a technical consultant, subject matter expert, and trainer for various technologies. I'm providing my services in industry, live industry. I'm not only teaching, just understand. I'm not only just giving trainings. I'm providing my services in industry. I have more than 20 years of experience in the field of corporate training, in project management, in business operations, in content development, and as a subject matter expert with some reputed companies. I worked with Tata Honeywell, I worked with Red Hat, I worked with NIT Limited, I worked with many other companies as well, big companies, right? So if I talk about my technical strength, because I will just take this introduction very brief. So my area of expertise, specifically, I'm talking about in IT training. I'm talking about AWS Cloud Computing, ethical hacking, cyber security, Red Hat Linux, and VMware data center virtualization and networking. And I have attained a number of certifications as well, but I'm interested here to show you only AWS certification. This is my second time AWS certification, right? So I'm just showing only AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate level of certification. This is the thing. Now, next is, yes, about certification and its goal, about certification, scope, and its goal. The first of all, the very important AWS Certified Solution Architect. I'm talking about SAA-C03 certification. It is a popular certification, and it is widely recognized by AWS. Not only recognized by AWS, it is recognized by IT industry throughout the world, globally. Everybody knows, right? And it validates the skills and knowledge required to design and deploy scalable and reliable application on AWS platform. And this certification is designed for individuals who have a good understanding of AWS services and features, and are able to architect and deploy secure, robust, and scalable application using AWS technology, right? So number of things are there. We will discuss about the career opportunities. What is the career opportunity? AWS is widely adopted by organizations globally, all around the world. Everybody knows about AWS, and they demand for skilled AWS solution architect, right? They demand for the AWS certified architect consistently, and having this certification can open up new job opportunities and enhance your career prospects. And it also expand knowledge area. If you do this training, if you do this certification, preparing for the certification examination, actually you just go for this particular path. And it is based on AWS services and best practices. When I say best practices, it is not only theoretical, it is 100% practical. And by earning the certification, you gain a comprehensive understanding of AWS architecture and design principles, right? And networking opportunities means AWS certification provide access to a community of AWS professionals and experts, allowing you to connect with the like-minded individuals, share knowledge, and you can stay updated on the latest development and AWS ecosystem, right? And if you see this particular table here, what I'm trying to explain, just understand, I'm not saying everybody will get this salary. This is basically the US based average salary I'm talking about. These are the some recognized, or you can say identified roles you can apply once you make yourself a professional in a certain field in AWS, like cloud architect, developers, system administrators, DevOps engineers, security engineers, and network engineers, data architects, and consultant. Let's say you are an engineer, for example, you are a network engineer. You have a very good hold on CCN, you have a very good hold on networking, firewalls, everything. So this is the next step where you can implement, because everybody knows now the time has gone वो पुराना वाला टाइम चला गया, राइट? अब कोई नहीं पूछेगा आपसे कि नाउ just come here and just deploy that Cisco physical firewall. No, everything is in cloud. Now, how to deploy your Cisco firewall, how to deploy Fortinet firewall, how to deploy other ISP, intrusion prevention system, intrusion detection system in AWS. This is the time, right? So they are looking for professionals who knows about AWS networking as well. So your prior knowledge, your prior experience will work here. And definitely you will have a good opportunity to join on a good position in AWS as well, right? So by the way, the basic salary, if I'm talking about on an international level, is good. But even if you're talking about in India, it's really, really far better. The only condition is this: you must have a pure and honest knowledge. You must have a very good background in AWS. And I'm here, right? So I'm also from the same area. So if you're just understanding, definitely I will be happier because you can share experience as well. And I have my experience, I will share, right? Okay. So now we start with the cloud computing. What is the cloud computing? As you know that the cloud computing, in a very short, I will, because I'm not teaching a here theory, just understand. So cloud computing, whenever you talk about cloud computing, the one thing comes in picture is internet. Means the hosted services over the internet is known as cloud computing. So AWS you can access through the internet, Azure you can access through the internet, even the GCP you can access from the internet, or you can take any cloud and platform. The internet is must. Without internet, the cloud computing will not exist. Secondly, as per pay as you go pricing model, AWS charges on per hour basis. We have a different plans, right? We will discuss in training. We have a different plan, but the basic thing I'm just discussing here, AWS charges on a per hour basis. Let's say you have a machine, you have a resource, you have anything. So if you run in AWS charges on a per hour basis. Let's say if you use resources for 2 hours, you run your machine for 2 hours. So AWS will only charge for those 2 hours. Now, this way you can control billing amount. If it is not needed, you can stop your instances. Means when I say instances, I'm talking about a server on AWS. So means if you don't need that instance, if you don't need that server, you can stop it. So when you stop it, AWS will not charge. Great. This opportunity was not there in your private data center. In your private data center, you used to purchase first of all the hardware and then you implement, right? पहले purchase करो उसको और फिर उसके बाद implement करो. Now, so this thing is not there. Now, the second is the most, why people are crazy about cloud computing. Is there any benefit? There is a list of benefits are there. Even those benefits cannot fit in this slide. Means we can say we have unlimited benefits, but few benefits I can just focus on right now, like flexibility, disaster recovery, software updates, control, capital expenditure, stop guessing capacity, data accessibility, security, competitiveness, and unlimited storage. Just understand, today we see number of cloud platforms available in market, like AWS hai, Google hai, and even MS Azure also is there. And a small, medium, and even large business houses find some significant benefits to switch on cloud because of its less cost, high availability, and easy deployment of services. भाई कुछ फायदा होगा तभी लोग जाएंगे क्लाउड की तरफ, otherwise क्यों? Now, I'm just giving a very rough figure. Let's say one company invest 1 crore rupee to run IT infrastructure in private data center, and that cost reduces 70 to 80%. Means instead of a 1 crore rupee, now you can run your business by 20 से 30 lakh rupee, between 20 to 30 lakhs rupee. You can run your business. So I will talk about all these things in detail. The cloud computing, because the cloud computing is not a single piece of technology, just understand, and we can't limit its benefit. So in my coming classes, I will definitely discuss about in detail, because we have a software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. So everything is available in AWS, and almost every organization needs to use cloud computing benefits either partially or fully. There was a survey actually conducted by a firm called Forrester. It is in America actually. So they do kind of a surveys on such technologies, the new upcoming technologies. So they were estimating that by the end of this year, almost cloud computing business can touch around $200 billion. My God. और एक बात और है, 2030 तक means by 2030, you talk about Europe, you talk about India, you talk about, for example, United States, 80 to 90% companies will be using cloud computing, right? And big players of cloud computing like Amazon, Intel, Microsoft, HP, Alibaba. Alibaba also is a very good name in Eastern countries like Singapore and all, Indonesia and China as well. And these are making huge, these companies I was talking about, these are the basically vendors, these are the cloud providers. These are making huge investment in cloud computing infrastructure globally around the world, right? They are increasing the presence, means they are big and they can provide better solution as compared to another one. But AWS is the public cloud computing platform, and it is based on pay as you go model. And I will talk about why AWS. अच्छा, जो major benefit है ना, जो सबसे बड़ा benefit है cloud computing, I don't know you are aware or not, and it is serverless services. You know what is a serverless services? You don't need server. You do not require racks. You have not to manage anything. You have not to purchase any server. You have not to configure any server. You have not to install any operating system on that. So AWS offers a comprehensive suite of serverless services, and that enables you to build and deploy application without the need to manage underlying infrastructure. And these services allow you to focus on writing codes, developing application, while AWS handles operation aspects like scaling, patching, and availability. बाकी सारा काम AWS करेगा. AWS is saying, भैया आप अपना application देखो, you see the ultimate what you want to deliver to your customer. You just manage it, and the rest thing is mine. So it means you must have how to use those serverless services. Let's say we have a number of serverless services. मैं कुछ example देता हूँ. I'm just going to give some example like Lambda, Amplify, DynamoDB, Route 53, API gateways, step functions, Event Bridge, Glue, Kinesis, and Cognito. Or if you are learning, so if you are adding one or two good thing in your profile, so you have a better chance to get a job earlier with a better salary. Just, salary is the main concern, the job is the main concern. But why anybody will give you the job? The job will depend on your profile, and it should be just like that, means जिसकी demand है वो आपके profile में. If you have a means demand technology in your profile, nobody can stop you. This is my guarantee, right? Dear, even I'm 50 plus, just understand, right? And I'm working with at least 20 companies right now, and I'm offering my services, not in only India, globally, whether you talk about Europe or you talk about United States. And because of this knowledge base, right? So I want to just transfer that knowledge base. This is mine, and the teaching is my passion. That's why I'm here. And next is, yeah, sorry, I will just continue. What is actually the cloud computing? I was talking about the cloud computing. So generally, we see 4 type of cloud computing is in trend. One is a private cloud, another is public cloud, and hybrid cloud, and multi-cloud. I will not just give a more time on this. Let's say private cloud refers to a cloud computing environment that is dedicated to a single organization, which is dedicated to a company. It is typically hosted within an organization's own data center or on-prem infrastructure. In a private cloud, The resources, infrastructure, and services are provisioned and managed exclusively for the use of that particular organization. Means सब कुछ आपको ही करना है. You have a company, you are creating your own data center, you are configuring your own data center, you are managing your hardware, you are managing your softwares, you are deploying your applications in that particular data center, and through that data center you are means offering your services to your client, whether they are on internet or they are directly connected with your private cloud. But private cloud means everything is managed by you. It is not a AWS or Azure kind of thing. But the another type of cloud which is in trend right now, which is in trend. So I will discuss later. Private cloud क्यों लेना है, public cloud क्यों लेना है, in what case we should choose public cloud, in which use cases we should choose private cloud. Because the private cloud is generally the looking company like banks, financial organizations, like stock exchanges. They feel that they must have their own data center and they must have a full control on that particular data center. That's why they use such kind of cloud. But for companies, a public cloud refers to a cloud computing environment that is owned and operated by cloud services provider. कौन है? AWS, Azure, GCP, Google Cloud Platform. And in a public cloud, the infrastructure and services are shared among multiple organizations and user base. And the cloud service provider is responsible for managing and maintaining infrastructure, hardware, networking, virtualization, everything. Who will manage? Cloud provider will manage. AWS manage करेगा भाई. हमें manage नहीं करना है. We have to manage our infrastructure that we are just going to create over AWS. Right? So one thing is there. You have not to purchase any hardware. You have not to manage. You have not to do anything. You have to manage only your infrastructure that you will create. Okay. And but whatever cloud you are using, like I'm talking about public cloud, AWS, GCP, all these clouds are based on, or these are available on the internet, right? Hybrid kya hota hai? What is a hybrid? Hybrid is basically a combination of both private and public cloud environments, and it allows organizations to leverage the benefit of. By 100% cannot be migrated immediately. So we decided, no, अपना भी चलने दो और जो AWS पे use कर सकते हैं वो AWS पे use करते हैं. So what we have did, we have our company's data center. So we created infrastructure on AWS that we would need to deliver on large base, means globally we want to distribute or publish. So for that we are using AWS Cloud. Or I'm saying honestly, AWS, if you know how to manage AWS, it provides you almost every information. It provides you every service to configure it very securely. And these two, public and private clouds, can be connected with each other, right, through private connection. I'm not talking about the internet connection. Without using internet connection, let's say you have a direct connect. So you can use a direct connect to connect your private data center with the AWS. And you can achieve a maximum to 100 Gbps connectivity between these two data centers. So this kind of a combination of cloud is known as hybrid cloud. और आजकल एक नया भी आ गया है, and these days we are listening about multi-cloud as well. What is a multi-cloud? Let's say the companies are saying, so we want to use AWS, and some service we want to use from Azure, or we want to use some services, let's say on GCP. Let's say, means it's a really, sometimes it's not favorable, it is not recommendable, but let's say 4 or 5% people are still, let's say, they're having their own interest to use multiple clouds, and you want to actually connect them each other. So such kind of cloud is known as multi-cloud. So multi-cloud strategy involves using multiple public cloud providers to meet different business needs. So we will discuss about those business needs. Okay. Now my question is, very important. Why AWS? By AWS क्यों लेना है? So I was just explaining in the beginning. So let's say you need to learn networking. So you always think about Cisco, right? Correct or not? So why Cisco? Because they have some base, like उसमें आपके बहुत सारी चीजें involved होती हैं. But here I'm talking about AWS. So AWS is number one. This was the first in public cloud platform. The first is the largest infrastructure. AWS is offering largest global infrastructure. You have almost 31 regions, right? So if you want to see, na, I will show you. For example, you can just go there, right? AWS global infrastructure. If you just go there, you can find. So you have how many regions? 31 regions. Like Mumbai is a region. In India, we have two regions. Hyderabad is a region. London is a region. Ohio is a region in the United States. North Virginia is a region. Tokyo is a region. So this way, all over the world, we have 31 regions. And these regions are being increased continuously. And total 99 availability zone. I will tell you what is availability zone, what is a region, what is the difference between region and availability zone. And we have more than 450 point of presence and edge locations. My God, almost in every major city. भाई इंडिया में भी कितने सिटी हैं? बैंगलोर है, दिल्ली है, कलकत्ता है. Similarly, in Europe we have a Milan, Paris, right? We have number of cities are there. So on all those cities, in all these cities, we have edge locations to provide connectivity and for content distribution, right? For the content distribution as well. And if you see Go, this is what we have. So red color means these are going to be launched, and the green means these are in a service. And we have few more things. We have local zones. अच्छा, एक चीज और आ गई, AWS सबसे आगे. AWS has announced 29 wavelength zone. These wavelength zones for 5G technology. अभी तो इंडिया में पूरी तरह से आया भी नहीं है. You have a lot of opportunities to go and join. So the only condition is there is a question mark. Do you know honestly about AWS or not? So I'm not offering the listed course here. I will teach each and everything which is in trend, which is in certification, right? So I will share those contents with you. And the presence of this AWS global infrastructure is there in more than 245 countries and territories around the world. And we have 115 direct connection location. Okay, we will discuss everything in detail in our course. I'm just coming here, sorry. And we have services. How many services are there? More than 200 fully featured services are there. Sorry. So we have more than 200 fully featured services are there. When I say fully featured, it means every service has multiple sub services as well. So the total 1,500 services are there. And see, let me show you. Let's say here we go. This is my AWS management console. And these are the services by categories. These are compute service, container service, storage service, database service, networking service, migration service, developer services, machine learning, artificial intelligence, analytics, Internet of Things. Do you see? And we have a set of services for security and compliance, security, identity, and compliance. So we have total major services I'm talking about, more than 200 services are there, right? So, and it is suitable for all cloud models. भाई कितने cloud model होते हैं? Like software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. And one more is there, the serverless architecture, right? It's called the FAS. And it also provide a complete solution for migration. Any kind of migration. What do you migrate? You want to migrate a database, you want to migrate servers, you want to migrate storage, you want to migrate what? So you have to, whatever you want to migrate, whether it's partially or with some virtual machines, even the entire virtual machine can be migrated. So we have a complete solution in AWS. Migration के ऊपर तो course भी है, right? आज की डेट में अगर आप, if you are claiming I know about migration, I guarantee you in 48 hours you will have a service in your hand, means job in your hand. But what is required? कहीं से start करना पड़ेगा. So AWS Solution Architect Associate level is a first professional certification to make your career. Specialization तो बाद में करेंगे, PhD बाद में करेंगे, MSc बाद में करेंगे. The first of all you just need to talk about some graduation level of certification in AWS, and then we have integrated with VMware and virtual environments. So why AWS? I'm just talking about why AWS. These are some listed points. So we didn't stop here. Now the next thing is why AWS? AWS provides the best learning resources. Acha, AWS offers you to create a free AWS tier account for 1 year. एक साल के लिए just create a AWS account for 1 year. Definitely with some limitation, because you will use the same platform for learning, right? But AWS is not charging for you from you anything, right? So major services that are really important learning point of view, whether it is a compute resources, container resources, storages, databases, right? Connectivities, some tools, very important, right? And even some security service. So those services are available free of cost. And AWS has the largest cloud documentation on this planet, right? उसको खुद नहीं पता कि AWS के पास कितना documentation. And this documentation, they are consistently changing daily, because this is a very dynamic platform. आज कुछ है, कल कुछ है. And that's why I never encourage you people to just go and see YouTube. No, I can just prove you are wrong, because if you are using the old videos, you are in a danger. So because those technologies now changing, those concepts are changing, the alternate technologies are coming. So please don't use old videos on YouTube available. So you can say if the videos pertaining to 2-3 months, एक दो महीने के अंदर हैं, then you can use it. But if you are referring the old videos, no, it is not recommended. Now AWS provide the good range of hands-on. Let me show you. For example, where is the documentation?
Hands-on labs.
Yeah. I will come. I will answer your questions as well. Let's say AWS documentation. See, you have a documentation. So you have a complete library of documentation. Can you see? These are the name. These are the name of the services, and you have a complete documentation. My God, it's a big, and you have SDK and toolkits available free of cost. And this is the general resources you have. All these things. This is only about the documentation. I will not opening it right now. And just go. And we have, let's say, hands-on. Let's say here you can just go AWS hands-on tutorials. And these tutorials are available free of cost. See, these are the hands-on. And I think you have more than 250 total number of hands-on available in each and every topic. So if you have an idea about like AWS, you can use it to update or enhance your knowledge, right? So means here, let's say, for example, I'm just going to just talk about one thing, the compute resources. You just go there and let's say here. So can you see? It is telling it will take a 10-minute time. It is an intermediate level. You have not to pay anything. If you have an AWS free tier account, it will be done. And these are, so these steps are given, right? So I will use all these things. And these are industry recommended scenarios. And skill builder, my God, this is an incredible thing I never saw. So if you just go, you just create your account in skill builder separately, AWS skill builder. Let's say here you go. You just go skill builder. You can find let's say I'm just going to sign in my account, right? So this is my account. Yes. See, you have almost everything. You have a free courses available in this. But when you will understand, you need some person to just guide you, right? So you can see here, these are the number of digital courses. Can you see? You want to see in English only, for example, it is available in Arabic, French, German, Greek, and English. I'm choosing English only. See, these are the things, right? और कुछ तो देखो कितने कितने के हैं, 66 आवर्स का, कुछ डेज के हैं, कुछ तो 5-5 दिन के भी हैं, right? And it is available. Let's say, yeah, this is a load balance. This is a gateway load balancer. It's a 30-minute course. You can see this. I'm showing you. People don't know anything about, right? See, this is what you have. And how to implement. Let's say, for example, you want to introduce Cisco Firewall, Fortinet Firewall, Palo Alto Firewall. How to do that? So all the documentation is given here, right? You have a documentation. Everything is there. So by the way, I was just showing all these things are available. And second, we have a AWS architected framework. It basically enhances your focus over best practices. For example, if you want to create a professional infrastructure in any company, then you have to use this particular AWS architected framework. It is provided by AWS. And you can also go for online conferences which are available. You can register them. So when any new announcement comes in AWS time to time give actually or it basically call you to join the conferences. And it is good if you are AWS certified, right? So this is the benefit of AWS. Secondly, it is suitable for, AWS is suitable for solution architects, cloud practitioners, right? It is good for developers, and it is good for in operations. In operation, AWS provides training by solution as well, like advanced networking, data analytics, machine learning, security, artificial intelligence, IoTs, database specialty. So many other certifications are there. We'll talk about. And this is AWS certification. For example, let's say I'm opening, sorry, yes, I'm just going to open this. I'm just going to open this link. Yes, AWS certification. We have a number of certification which is available. Like we have a foundation. We are including that foundation level in our course as well, right? So we have some associate level of certification, like solution architect, associate developer, associate DevOps, and SysOps administration associate. We have some professional level of certification, which definitely require 2-year industrial experience. One is AWS solution architect professional, and another is AWS engineer professional. Second, we have some specialty certifications like advanced networking, data analytics, database, machine learning, security, SAP on AWS, HANA, for example. So this is one thing. So you can find all these information from here. If you want, I will share all this information, and this one more information I'm giving. So nothing is hidden, right? So training and certification. So this is for the training and certification. We have training on the basis of a role like architect, practitioners, developer, operations. Then we have a training by solutions like advanced networking, data analytics, machine learning, security. And then we have the latest in AWS training and certification. So these are the features, right? March new courses and offerings. कौन से मार्च से? I'm talking about 2023, right? Even your chat GPT don't know anything about this. If you talk about, like, let's say, what is the identity center, chat GPT mana kar dega, because they don't mean that doesn't know anything, right? So all these things are new. And what is this? AWS is expanding access to free cloud training for 29 million people by 2025. So whatever I was showing you, the resources that comes under the free cloud training resources, right? Digital training, classroom training, number of things are there. By the way, these are the very expensive training, and they do not teach very fundamentals. They assume that you must have some prerequisite to start this training. Now I'm going here. Why AWS? Because AWS is providing the most demanding AWS certification, and that certification name is AWS Solution Architect Associate. Certification exam code is 𝐊𝐢𝐧𝐠𝐬. You're gonna find the same link is there. The same link is there. So we're just showing you. If anything different, yeah, I've already shown. Great. Now, guys, I will take little time because you spared your expensive time and just attending this. You're attending the seminar. I'm going to demonstrate you these three different labs. One is the hosting serverless website using S3. S3 is a storage service. So how you can launch your website without a virtual machine, without a server. Second is how to launch your EC2 instance, or how to launch a server in AWS. And secondly, hosting a web application or website using Amplify. This is the newest application they introduced in the certification. So I will not take much time, hardly 30 minutes maximum. I think you will be interested. So let me just start. The first, I'm just starting how to host a serverless website using S3. For example, so this is a demonstration. You will have an idea how actually I'm working in. Let's say this is your S3. This is storage. S3 is what? S3 is the simple storage service. By the way, I tell you, because my methodology is a different. I generally use some online whiteboard, right? And I explain each and everything on my white. Can you see here? I just each and everything, diagrams, explanations, use cases, everything, and I share all these documentation with my students, right? Do you see? So more than 100 pages document is there. So I will tell you what all this. Right. Okay. So first of all, I'm just going to launch a website without using server, with the help of only S3 storage space, how to launch a server. And you can access it. You can access it online immediately. I will take only 5 minutes. Let's say I'm creating one storage container called bucket in S3. S3 is a simple storage service, or it's an object storage over the internet. You have to create a bucket name. The bucket name should be a globally unique, just like a domain name. Let's say nk.12 May bucket. Okay, right? And you are not allowed to type any capital letters. You will write only small letters. Dot and hyphen can allow. No other special characters is allowed. And I'm creating this bucket in North Virginia. If you want, you can create in any region, because S3 is a global service, right? These are the 31 regions. You can store anywhere. Let's say my clientele is in America and they want to use this website. So I'm using this North Virginia. And I need to actually make it accessible over the internet. So I'm making some changes like object ownership. I'm changing. I'm removing ACLs to make it public. Great. And step by step, actually in training, it will be done. and this is the one thing. So your bucket has been created. This is the bucket, right? But right now, this container, this bucket is empty. So what I'm doing, I'm just going to add my website content. Where is my website content? For example, I have my website template. Where is my website template? Here we go. Yes. Control A. And let's say I'm uploading that. Open and just upload them. I upload them. It'll hardly take a few seconds to upload because we have more than 70 or 65 files, or approximately 70 files are there. So all these files are being uploaded. And all these files are uploading in North Virginia region, which is in the United States. So means I didn't create any server. मैंने कोई server नहीं बनाया है. I'm using only the storage, right? And with the help of storage, I will publish a static website, and people are using free of cost. Why to purchase this hosting space? उनको भी बड़ा धक्का लगा है because AWS is providing this hosting space free of cost, and companies are using rigorously free of cost. And if you are using a free tier account, you have a 5 GB free space. But the incredible thing in this, in S3, you can upload any amount of data. When I say upload any amount of data, means there is no limit. The data can be in GBs, data can be in TBs, data can be in petabytes, right? There is no. So there's no limit. So this is done. So you uploaded all the files. You just make them, let's say, go to action and make them public so that your website should be publicly accessible. This is the one thing. You made it public, right? And go to properties tab. You go to very last option, let's say, and the static website hosting. So right now it is disabled. What you will do, you will change its state, go to add it, enable it, and just write the index document name, index.html, right? And this is done. My God. And the job is over. Wow. The job is over. And here in the static website hosting, you have the URL. And if I'm just going to use the URL over the internet, you can't believe this website is published. Great. How much time I did take? So I can, if you are accessing chat, for example, I don't know you are able to access it chat or not. I shared this link in my meeting chat. You can also use it. You can see it is available throughout the world. And not only this, because this URL is little absurd to remember. अगर आप चाहते हो कि if you have your own domain name and you want to map it with the domain name, you can use Route 53 service to open this website through your domain name. Let's say example.com, abc.com, mydomain.com, whatever domain you have, you will have a company's domain. So you can map with the company's domain as well, right? And this is done. You are not using any server for that. You didn't prepare anything. Hardly in a minute or two, this website has been published. This is the one thing. Second, let's say I'm just going to just offer you a launch and a virtual server. Let me show you how you can launch your server. Do you see this particular diagram? In this diagram, I'm just telling you about a virtual server. Virtual server is virtual machine. I will teach you about what is a virtual machine, what are the advantages of virtual machine, और आप में से बहुत लोगों को तो मालूम भी होगा what is a virtual machine. So virtual machine actually needs in AWS an AMI, which is known as Amazon Machine Image. It's a template of an operating system. We are not using ISO images to launch our servers. Instead, we are using AMIs, which is known as Amazon Machine Image. And we have more than 7,000 or 8,000, approximately 8,000 AMIs available for every use. ये machine उसकी भी हो सकती है, for example, किसी appliance की भी हो सकती है. This machine can be a server, database server, any server. You can think, just think, you will find that server here, right? And you just select that image and launch your instance, number one. Secondly, the second is you need to provide the configuration. and we have a large number of configuration. छोटे से छोटे use के लिए और बड़े से बड़े use के लिए. Depend what type of configuration machine is required. So you need to allocate virtual virtual CPU and RAM. So right now I'm using T2.micro. It is available free of cost. And you see, if you are using T2.micro, you will get only one virtual CPU and 1 GB RAM. मतलब 1 GB RAM में और 1 virtual CPU में कैसे चलेगा, देखना जरा भी आप इसको. Because we are using actually Intel based or Intel Xeon based microprocessor and architecture in AWS data centers. And the third is EBS volume. This is the component. These are the components of this machine. The third component of the machine is EBS volume. EBS is a kind of a hard disk that you connect with your virtual machine. We call it as a elastic block storage. This is called elastic block storage or block storage. So ये भी ले सकते हो up to 16 TB. Single volume can take up to 16 TB SSD volume, and this can be an SSD volume, right? And this is the security group. Is a firewall. It is a mandatory to connect with instance to filter incoming as well as outgoing traffic. And you also need a key to access this machine over the internet for security purpose. We don't need actually username and password. Username is okay, but instead of password, we have to use this private key. So how to launch it? Let's say I'm just going to launch it Linux instance. And if you give little time to me, I can launch even Windows instance as well, right? So you just go here and let's say this is my AWS. Where is my AWS? कहाँ गया, कहाँ गया, कहाँ गया? Okay. कहाँ गया भाई? I closed it, I think, right? So the service means if you want to create a virtual server, right, or server for your organization, there is a service called EC2. We called EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud, to create a virtual server in AWS. You click on this. This is a, ये सारी चीजें मैं बहुत डिटेल में पढ़ाऊंगा step by step, right? I'm just demonstrating it right now. So in this, I have all earlier 2 servers are running. पहले से 2 servers चल रहे हैं. Okay, no issue. I'm just terminating these servers. I don't need these servers, so I can terminate these servers. Let's say I'm terminating. Terminating means I deleted those servers. And let's say I'm just going to launch a server. There is an orange color button. You click on launch. So when you're launching, the first thing is you need to write the name of the server. Let's say my EC2 server, or EC2 Linux server. Let's say this is my Linux server. And here we have some AMIs. I told you, you have to select image, Amazon image instead of ISO images. So if you just go to the browse, how many images are there? Can you see total? My God, this number has changed. Earlier it was 7,700. Few days back. Now you can see in AWS Marketplace, you have more than 8,000 AMIs are available of all type of use. You just think about क्या चाहिए आपको वो आपको मिल जाएगा, right? Let's say I'm choosing this, the first AMI, Linux AMI I'm choosing, and here you can select it. You just go back. Yeah, this has been selected. Yeah, this has been selected, AMI. You can see this AMI has been selected. Now, this is the T2.micro, and this is a free tier eligible. AWS will not charge for this machine, right? Because this is free of cost. And the key pair, I need to create a key pair for authentication. Let's say my key is NK key for 12 May, right? Let's say this is the key I'm using, and I will use instead of password this key. I'm downloading in my computer, in my host computer. Great. And this is the networking. I'm taking the default networking, right? And here is my SSH, and only 8 GB hard disk I'm taking. You can take up to 16 TB SSD volume. And this is a very big field. Actually, we have a different type of SSD volume. So, and all these SSD volume has a different use case. Why to use GP3? Why to use IO1, IO2? So we have a long theory behind it, right? Let's say I'm taking only 8 GB as default, and launch instance. You can see the instance is being launched. See, go down and view all instances. So this is the instance you have created. You just count. कितनी देर count करेंगे? आप 10 तक count नहीं करोगे, and you are running on one virtual CPU and 1 GB RAM. Can you believe? It's almost negligible resources you are taking free of cost, and it is running. It has been launched. It has been started, right? It has been launched. क्या करें फिर? So you just go select this machine here. You go to connect and see. You go to connect. This is the one way to actually connect your machine. This is the one way to connect your machine. Your machine has been prepared, machine has been launched, and now you took the remote of this machine. This is a Linux machine. अच्छा, एक काम और करेंगे, because some of you maybe are not basically you will not have Linux knowledge. For example, let's say 10%, 20% people will say, no, sir, we never use actually Linux. So we will teach actually Linux in this particular course. So we will spare some classes for the Linux as well, right? This is good. So whatever the Linux is required to operate AWS, that much of a Linux I will teach you. So you will not face any difficulty after all. Now, this is the Linux machine. This is one thing. And what about the Windows machine? For example, let's say go to launch. I will take 1 more minute, right? Launch instance. And this time, just a minute. I'm just going to launch a Windows machine. You go to launch instance, right? Here you write Windows Server, and I'm choosing Windows operating system, Windows Server operating system. This is not a Windows 11, right? Or Windows 10. I'm using here Windows 2022 base machine, and let's say थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा ले लेते हैं configuration. We are not interested in the free tier. Let's say I'm taking C5. I will teach you why to use C5X large. In this, you will get 8 GB RAM and 4 virtual CPU. And this is the key already created. You can use the same key for authentication, and you will use RDP. And 30 GB is a EBS volume size, hard disk size, because Windows थोड़ा ज़्यादा लेता है. Windows is a little will take a little more as compared to Linux. And just launch. राइट. अब विंडो मशीन तो टाइम लेती है यार. विंडो मशीन तो कम से कम 15-20 मिनट तो लेती है, whether you are using even your virtual platform in your even private data center. So that will take at least 30 minutes to provision your machine. How much? And it says that it is successful, right? And view all instances. This is the machine, and can't believe the machine has been started. Do you see? The machine has been started. This machine has been launched. You cannot finish your even a glass of water. Before that, this machine has been launched. And now how to take this Windows remote. So I'm just talking about only the one method connect. We have a various method. You can also use the RDP separately using your own device as well. I'm using from AWS Management Console, and you just go to connect. It will take little 2 or 3 minute time to just configure this machine. This RDP client. The first of all, you need to download this remote desktop file.
Remote desktop file.
Yeah, you can just download it, and before that, you need to just get a password. And where's the password? See the password. Where I have to use the download. This is my key, and this is my password. You can decrypt the password. This is the password, right? This is the password, and simply just open this Windows Server RDP. You can simply paste the password here and say okay. You can say okay. And see, you took remote of the server, Windows server. Do you see? And it's a 2022 server. 4 GB भी चल रहा है भाई, 8 GB भी चल रहा है. ये ज्यादा नहीं होता है, right? It's very nominal. It is even less than your laptop.
Yes, sir. Right.
Right. And it is so fast, incredibly fast. Why it is fast? Because you are using Intel Xeon microprocessors in AWS data center. मैं दिखाऊंगा आपको. I will show you everything, right? See, this is here. Yeah, this is the machine. This is the machine. But
So
this
how
machine
can
was
we
a,
access from
let's say I'm
public
just
IP?
closing this. This machine was a paid, for example. So if you are using the paid resources only for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, hardly you will pay. 5-7 रुपए का कोई bill will, right? So let's say I'm not using it, I'm terminating it. You can also terminate it because it is a pay as you go model. It is based on pay as you go model. And now the most important part, because these two things are done, we saw that how you can host your website. We saw that how you can launch your Linux instance, how you can launch your Windows instances, servers. Let's say I'm talking about a very incredible thing is a Amplify, you know. So this also is a serverless service. Serverless service to host your web application and websites. Amplify. So you just go there and I'm here. You will write Amplify, AWS Amplify, right? You just go to new app and just host a web application. Simple. And you must have some repository. So these are the kind of the repositories are being supported. AWS repository is a code commit. And if you see the public repository is a GitHub. So I'm using a public repository. This is my created public repository. अगर आप लोगों को पता है तो ठीक है, अगर नहीं पता है तो I will explain you how to create and use GitHub as well. Now, go to my GitHub. So I'm just going to take the code of my website from here, right? Let's say this is what you have. And this is my branch. You just say next. And you need to provide, let's say, app name, NK website, for example, NK website. And you just amplify, allow it, and just say next. And just go save and deploy. Done. The job is done. Can you see? भाई कोई क्यों बनाएगा server अब? You have a serverless services. You are paying minimum to host the websites in a secure manner over the internet, and your clients can use in a very securely. And you have not to worry about infrastructure is running in backend. क्या router था, क्या firewall थी. You don't want to learn that, right? Nothing to be done. And this is being provisioned. And it will take 2 minutes time. So meantime, let's say I'm just showing you this is hosted, and I'm just going to show you. This is what we have. Yeah, this is the website. Server use नहीं किया भाई इसके लिए. I didn't use server for S3. I didn't use for server for Amplify. So why servers are to be used? I will give you 100 of use cases why to use servers. And not only servers, container is upcoming technology for microservices. So I will teach about containers as well, right? This is going to be a very incredible course for you. And I just give you a guarantee, nobody can teach this much of content that we are offering here. This is the one thing. And finally, our favorite institution, networking initiative. So first of all, we are providing experienced and certified instructors with great industry experience, latest and updated training content, the very latest AWS training content we are using, and we are just updating now. And Focus area is hands-on, only practical use case, using best practices, and cover the best practices and use cases pertaining to the services for this course like C03, and team support with online feature. You have class recordings with you. You can use those class recordings anytime. Flexible timings are there. As per your convenience, you can choose weekdays and weekend also, right? So now it's guys your turn. If you have any question, you can write your question either in chat, or if you want, you can ask questions.
Sir, my name is Pankaj Asthana.
Yeah, hello Pankaj, your voice is little low.
Okay, sir. I'm increasing my voice. Actually, sir, I want to know what are the timings. It will be the weekday batch or weekend batches. What are the timings?
We have both. Gauravji, are you there? Yeah, we have both batches. You can discuss with my team, and we are offering weekdays batches. Weekdays batches are from 7:30. One time is 7:30 to 8:30. Daily we will take 1 hour class.
So
On
this is
Saturday, Sunday, we have a
okay.
2 hour class. 2 hour class on Saturday and 2 hour class on Sunday.
Sunday.
Right?
And what are the timings, sir? Same timing?
Timing अलग अलग. वो Saturday, Sunday का we have a timing on
अलग है उसका.
हाँ 9
Okay,
morning
sir,
होगा, either 9 a.m. or 11 a.m.
Okay, because sir, I'm doing my job, so my timing is daily timing from 10 to 7. So that's
तो
why.
ये 7 के बाद करना ना, 7:30 करना, 7:30 और 8 to 9 कर लेना. It's a bet. 7:30 is the best time. 7:30 to 8 o'clock.
8 के 9 के बीच में better रहेगा. It will be better for me.
हाँ, वो करवा. That is
ठीक है
okay.
सर. सर मैं एक चीज और पूछना चाहता हूँ.
हाँ जी, हाँ जी.
सर, हाँ, जो डीसी सर्वर है, तो हमें ये डीसी सर्वर की क्रिएट करने की जरूरत नहीं होगी आगे बनाने के लिए. We don't need to create DC domain controller.
नहीं होता है. Let me show you, because you asked me this question. There is a service in AWS we called as a Active Directory. Do you see?
Yes.
Directory services. How we can deny that? Yeah. Directory services.
तो अभी हमें रिक्वायरमेंट है, फिजिकली हम क्रिएट करते हैं एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी डोमेन.
कोई जरूरत नहीं है, कोई जरूरत नहीं है. वो सब यहाँ पर you have not to install step by step. Those things are available. Those things are available in terms of services. Let's say AWS managed. You just see very carefully. AWS managed Active Directory. You have your own directory, and if you have your own directory in your data center, you can use that directory through AD connector as well, right?
Okay. सारा कुछ लॉजिकली रहेगा सर, कुछ फिजिकली नहीं रहेगा.
तो कुछ भी नहीं है, भगवान भी फिजिकल नहीं है. सब कुछ लॉजिकली है. लॉजिकल वर्चुअल, नॉट लॉजिकल, इट्स अ वर्चुअल.
It's a virtual, right. Okay, sir.
Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed the session. I just tried to give you very important information. So please just go and start, and just don't wait. And I just guarantee you, means it's a kind of a passion, right? So it will hardly take 38 to 40 hours to complete your course. Not only this, and if you have your experience, you can share with me. You have your use cases, you can just go with those implementations. And I have incredible hands-on and list of services, use cases, best practices to share with you. Definitely you will have a best opportunities in industry. Thanks everyone.
Within a month, within a half a month. So this course will complete.
No, not in 1 month. It will take 2 months. It will take 2 months.
It will take 2 months, right.
It will take 2 months, not in 1 month. 1 month is a very short period. For
weekend batches.
Weekdays or weekend, both will take 2 months each.
Both. Okay.
Right. Okay. So thanks everyone. We are closing the session. I hope you enjoyed the session, and I will be waiting in my live classes. Thanks everyone.
Okay.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, sir. Good night.